The Get Down is brought to you by Digital Music Pool. Digital Music Pool is the ultimate record pool for professional DJs looking for the hottest tracks and exclusive hits updated daily in an easy-to-use platform. You can find exclusive edits from myself, Cream, Adam B., Andrew Marks, Angelo the Kid, Armin Averu, Chumpian, Dan FX, Castra, Pat C, and Samus J only on DMP. And we're giving you a chance to try their service for just $9.99 for the first month. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages, create an account, and enter the promo code CREAM at checkout for your discounted month. DMP is my go-to record pool for new and exclusive music to play in my sets. So become a member for just $9.99 for the first month with the code CREAM and check it out for yourself. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages to sign up now. You will not be disappointed. If you love listening to the Get Down, you will love the video version of our show on YouTube even more. With all new audio and video upgrades, we've taken the show to the next level. On YouTube, you get to see our facial expressions, hand gestures, and real passion we have for this industry and for helping you grow your DJ business. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down Instagram page to watch the podcast now or search Get Down DJs on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate if you subscribe to our channel, like, and comment any questions you might have that we could bring up on the show. What's up, guys? Welcome to the 118th episode of The Get Down presented by Digital Music Pool. My name is Cream.
GaryW here.
We're going to bang a quick podcast out, guys. We've been in major prep mode for the Get Down meetup, which if you're listening to this the day that it comes out, the meetup will be tonight.
Yes.
So last call for anybody that wants to actually come to the meetup in Jersey City tonight. You got to RSVP from our website, getdowndjgroup.com. I think we have like 10 tickets left, so you might not even be able to get in if you're hearing this.
Yeah. May 17th, that is, right? Tomorrow?
Yes. So we'll get into the meetup and how it goes and kind of give you guys the recap, I'm sure, next week or one of the following weeks. But I kind of wanted to get into, to start the pod, a little bit of a story and just something that kind of happened to me that I think you guys that are listening can kind of take from and use to your advantage. So I've been DJing at Avalon Mohegan Sun up in Connecticut for about 13 months now. Shout to RM. He helped get me in there, and the manager there really liked my set. And I've been back pretty much every month. It's been awesome. Mohegan Sun's such a dope casino. It's beautiful. It's clean, great restaurants. And the nightclub, Avalon, is really, really dope. But all of my sets have been on Friday, and Friday is a slower night there. I think across the board, Fridays are generally slower than Saturdays, especially in the casinos. And some sets I've had there have been awesome, busy, bottles, tables. Some sets, like this past Friday, have been really slow. And I think it's a challenge to go and play a set like that where it's a big nightclub that has big sound and you're used to playing these big, I'm coming in with an intro and it's a big EDM, like epic intro. When there's nobody there, you can't really do that.
Did you not do that this time around?
I definitely did not do that this time around.
Yeah, because it just would have felt stupid.
Right, like there's 20, 25, 30 people in the room. Like,
gosh, that was it.
It was the lightest, this past Friday was the lightest start of my set of the last year.
So what is your approach? You know, okay, now it's your time to go on. You're headlining, and like, what's the first song you're playing? Is it still a house track? Are you playing hip hop? Like, what was your thought process? Maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes before you're going on, and now you're probably recalibrating what you want to do. Like, right? Like you've probably led up all week long. We've all been in this situation where you lead up all week long, you visualize what this intro is going to look like and what your set's going to sound like. And this is what I'm going to do for the first 30 minutes. And then it's 35 people there. And then you have to figure out kind of, like I said, you have to recalibrate your brain and recalibrate your set and not be too let down by the lack of crowd and still execute. So what did you do?
I'd say the most important thing about going and DJing a light room is you have to actually be a DJ. You have to read the room, listen to what the opener's playing, see what people who are there are reacting to. If it's hip hop, I'm going to come in with hip hop and go from there. If it's EDM and people are dancing, the people that are there, I'm going to play EDM and go that direction. And then just test the waters with different things. I think I'm always going to play a little less heavy, you know? Right. It's not going to be as deep down the rabbit hole in any one genre. And I'm going to really stick to vocals that I think everybody knows. Like I'm going to go to my go-to like 11:30 to 12:30 set in those situations and then reassess based on how many more people come into the room, what people are reacting to.
I think those easily relatable songs is what you need to stick to. Also focus on the girls in the room, right? I think that's a really important one because those are the drivers behind business, meaning that if the girls stay, the guys stay. So you really want to focus on them. See what, like you said, see what they're reacting to, but it's got to be stuff that's pop. It's got to be stuff that's very relatable, especially in that bigger space, because that's probably why they're there in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
They're there to party and have a good time. So you got to kind of bring that no matter how many people are in the room.
Yes, you definitely have to bring it. Still on the mic, still introducing myself, still shouting out all the bottles and the birthdays. Even though there's less people, you still have to treat it in such a way that you're there to do a job, right? You're there to create this experience for the people that are there, whether it's 1,000 or 100. You still have to do the job. And throughout that whole set, it was like, I'm happy to be here. I love this room. I'm going to do the best job I can because I like the people that work here. I like being here, and I want to make sure that I do a great job for them. Now, flashback to the previous time that I was there. At the end of the night, the GM always comes up to the booth. We have a conversation. Hey, tonight went great. What do you think went really well? Kareem, I loved your set. Whatever it might be. Right. The last time that we had that conversation, I asked the manager, I'm like, hey, man, I've been here for like a year. I appreciate all the opportunity. I love being here, but I'd love to get a chance to play a Saturday night. And his response was, like most of the time Saturday nights we're bringing in, travel acts and out-of-town acts. Yeah, I am out of town, but they're like flying artists in for these Saturday night sets generally. And that was totally fine. I'm like, listen, I totally understand. I'm cool with doing whatever you guys want. I'm here to work. I love being here. Whatever you guys need, I got you. So flash forward back to this really slow set. At the end of the night, we have our normal end of the night conversation. And the GM goes, oh, shit, Kareem, I forgot to book a DJ June 3rd. It's a Saturday. Can you do it? And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to do it. And now I get my opportunity to move from a Friday spot to a Saturday spot. And it took 13 months to get that opportunity. And I think there's two huge lessons to take away from this. The first is, be really grateful for what you have and do the best possible job that you can do in those opportunities. And the second thing would be you have to ask for the things that you want. If I didn't ask him after the last set, hey, is there any opportunity for me to work a Saturday? He would have just kept booking me on Fridays because I'm doing a good job. They like what I'm doing. And that's it. You have to ask for the things that you want. And if you never ask, people aren't mind readers. They're not just going to give you the better opportunity or, pay you more money or whatever you might be asking for.
Yeah, we've talked about this. And you know what it was? An owner came to us and said, well, if you'd never asked for the raise, I was never giving it to you. Do I think that you deserved it? Absolutely. I think we spoke about this a couple podcasts ago. He's like, do I think you guys deserved a raise? Absolutely deserved a raise. But he's like, I'm not going to lose money just because, I think you deserve a raise. You have to come to me and ask for it. So that is the first thing. I think there's very interesting dynamic to how this went down. Like, you just came off a very slow set, which I'd like to get into what he said about the night. I just want to get like an owner's perspective or a manager's perspective on what a slow night means to them. But outside of that, like he comes to you and offers you the better night after a slow night that you did, which it seems like that would never happen, right? It's like, all right, well, Cream didn't pack this place out. Why would I have him in on a Saturday? And it's the other thing is it's also very important that you still went in, and because it was slower, that you went in and crushed your set, because now he trusts you. Oh, well, you did a good job with your set when it was a little slower. You absolutely are going to do a great job when there's more people in front of you.
Right. Well, he's seen me with a packed dance floor and what I can do. So they also requested to have me play there for New Year's. So like, they obviously like me. We've created this good relationship. I think I've played really good sets there. That's always one that I'm excited for, and I come prepared for, and I give a lot of energy to. And again, like, it is crazy that after the slowest night, he did come up to me. And honestly, I didn't think I did the greatest job, because it was really hard. I played more open format, and I let him know that. I'm like, hey, I know we were slower tonight. I really tried to play the music for the people that were here and keep whoever was here the whole night, you know? Right. And I think he sees that. He's watching the cameras. He's walking the floor. Like, he understands what a good DJ is, and what a good set in that room looks like and sounds like.
That's a difficult... Well, it's a difficult situation to be put in as the headliner, number one, but also it's nice to know that there's a manager that understands that you need to be a little malleable in those situations, and the fact that you were means that you're a more effective DJ because of it. So it's not all managers are like that. So you're kind of lucky in that regard.
Yeah, I think it's another testament to this particular manager, because I don't always see him before the set. He always comes out at the end. But having these conversations with the managers and owners and the people who are really making decisions is super important, because even on a slow night, we got to talk it out. Like, hey, like, wow, I know there was still bottles coming out. Like, I tried to shout them out, make sure they felt like they were on the, the big board, and like tried to show them as much love. And he's like, "No, man, you did a great job. You did what you had. You did the best job you could with what you had to work with." Yeah. And I think just having those sets and like talking through the night with your manager at the end of the night is super valuable.
I think you guys can look at this also on a smaller scale. It's not always the major nightclub. It's the restaurant turned club it's even those smaller places when they're a little dead. You can't just mail it in, right? You have to still be on top of it and really satisfy those people who walk in the door, and really try to keep them around for as much as possible. Whether it's, you have to find those groups. We say this all the time. Find those groups that are into the music and play to them.
Right.
Because as soon as the other people that walk in see this group vibing out, well, they're more inclined to be more involved in being energetic toward what you're doing. The minute you mail it in and you get on your phone and you're texting your friends or whatever you might be doing, you're not going to be an effective DJ, and that's going to show at the register at the end of the night. So it's important to, no matter what level you're at, to do your best. And even if it's a day thing on a roof where people are just sitting down, like, you still want to get people up and dancing, just so you're showing worth that, hey, management, hey, ownership, it's worth the $300-400 that you're throwing at this set. And this is why you should continue to book the DJ there.
Right.
So there's definitely multiple ways to look at that.
A couple other pieces of advice for playing slower nights. In this particular case, I was coming on as a headliner. I usually go on around 11:30. But if you're going on 11:30 and your normal big EDM stuff it's not time yet, just think about, all right, well, if I was here and I was playing from 10:30 to 11:30, what would I have been playing? And kind of like just push your set back a little bit, right? So maybe your big intro doesn't come until 12:30, whereas on a busy night, you could do it at 11:30.
Right.
So I think you need to have that understanding of the room and what's happening and where you are to be able to say, all right, I'm still in the opener zone, even though I'm coming on as the headliner type thing. And I think if you're playing the full night, you could think about this the same way too. Even just because last week in your residency, things started picking up at 11:45 and by 12:15 you were playing bangers. Next week, maybe that doesn't happen until 12:45.
Right.
And you have to be aware of what's happening in the room and understand when it's time to progress to that level.
It's interesting. I always find myself casually progressing into bigger stuff and not like presenting like, okay, this is now what's going to be what's considered headliner music.
Yeah.
But that is a great way to look at it. Like, okay, well, I can now I can now drop my intro. Like even if have been already playing for 2.5 hours, it's not something that I've ever thought of to do.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of these bigger casino style sets, and it's all, like big EDM with vocals people know, and that's kind of the mind state I've had in a lot of these sets. So
I think this is a good transition into something that you brought up last week, and I guess the big headline would be Nightlife is Dead.
Is it? That's my question, really. Is nightlife dying? Is it dying? Or is just nightlife as we know it in these big clubs, bottle service dying? Like, what's going on out there?
I don't know is bottle service going by the wayside, and like, are we being more driven back toward like the bigger restaurant, cocktail bar, lounge format? Are we seeing that transition again? I think, I pointed out Brooklyn Mirage before. Obviously, that's a ticketed place. That's almost like an arena, right? Like,
right.
That's like selling out like MSG or something. Like,
right.
That's kind of a different pedestal. That's not just a nightclub. That's a show experience in and of itself. So like, is like the standard nightclub dying? I think that I don't know. I think bringing the major talent into a nightclub environment, I think that's going away. It's just too expensive. They have to play a place like Brooklyn Mirage where it's like hard ticket sales.
Right.
That mid-level DJ, I guess they're selling a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I'm not out enough in the nightlife landscape, let's say in New York City, to know that like, is nightlife truly dying? Or like I said, are we just transitioning over into a different type of nightlife space, which I think is what's probably more or less the case. We saw this happen. We've seen this happen numerous times now.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're now kind of coming to the end of this like sports bar. Everyone wants to be bounce thing. I feel like for a while, everyone wanted to be bounce.
That was a thing for a little bit. Yeah.
And now it's like everyone's reinventing like, what is the next thing? Is it the smaller club that does bottles, but is not bottle driven? It's not the big nightclub. I'll tell you that much.
Have bottle service kind of outworn its welcome when it comes to open format, heavier house music clubs?
I think there's a few things, right?
Bottle service drives in a hip hop club. Drives heavy, right? Like hip hop clubs are selling bottles constantly.
Yeah,
it's just a regular. It's part of the culture. It's part of the club culture in hip hop. It's not with house music.
It's not.
It was back in like 12, 13. It was a little bit, and then it got away from it because it's more, it's more show driven, right? It's more directed at the DJ and what is the DJ bringing in to the table as a show, and it's not so much the get a group of friends together and sit down at a table.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about all the big rooms that I play, right? And this spring, everything has been slower than it's been. Year over year, everything is slower.
Right.
More venues are closing. Society here in New Jersey just closed. It was really the only other nightclub besides Birch, where I'm the entertainment director and resident DJ, that is even in northern New Jersey. There's one nightclub. It's the only nightclub that you can go and do bottle service and get that big room feel.
Right.
And those places have been slowly dying out. And this spring, we've seen them all slowly die out. And I think there's a number of factors that have contributed to it, right? Local sports have been really successful here in New York City. Hockey, basketball, baseball, it all kind of happened at once. And I think more people are driven to those places where they can just get a beer, wear a Yankee hat, and go watch the game type thing. We had a really rough spring with weather where like it rained every single weekend.
Rained a lot.
That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt your bottle service places for sure.
We saw it the one night that I played. We had a lot of cancellations due to rain and cold. So like, I mean, that affects it directly and like up until the last hour.
Yeah.
So.
And then the final thing would just be, it's another year after COVID, right? And it's like, has the allure of being able to go out and like go do things, nightlife things, kind of worn off.
Yeah. The excitement isn't like it was a year ago. Like you said, we're a year out from that, and we're seeing the weather change here now. I think we're seeing more day driven drinking, I think that has to do. I think when the weather changes, everybody gets excited to be outside.
Day drinking, outdoor spots, rooftop spots. It's their time to shine now. And through the summer, honestly.
That's it. So like even your Saturdays right now will probably take a bit of a hit moving forward all the way up until, not all the way up until, I mean, I guess Memorial Day is right around the corner. I can't even believe that. But all the way up until Memorial Day into the summer and then into the fall, we'll see that kick back again in the fall where everybody's excited to be back. I would
love to hear from you guys that what's happening in the other markets. Are you seeing the big clubs go away too? Are you seeing some of these like sports bar turn nightlife places? Like, are they still successful or are they sort of slowly dying out as well? Is it an overall trend of less people going out? Is it an overall trend of less people wanting to buy bottles? I don't know. I'd be interested to find out, but I feel like it is because Connecticut, right? We talk to other DJs that get booked in other markets. They're not playing as many. Big travel DJs aren't playing as many markets. There just aren't as many venues.
Right.
The budgets are going down. Like it's all shrinking. And I think because a lot of these really big venues are closing, the better DJs are going to play some of the smaller venues. And you're getting a similar music experience in the smaller venues as you are or as you would get in a big nightclub, unless you're bringing a ticketed act.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to bring politics into this, but like the economic, we're seeing the start of an economic downturn not in nightlife yet, but I think we are partly seeing it in nightlife. We're seeing it in other industries, but now it's going to slowly carry over into regular consumer behavior, which in turn is going to be maybe I just go out on Saturday and Friday's not a thing anymore. I'm not going to spend $300 on a bottle. I'm going to go find a different spot to go to. Experience-driven nightlife is a huge thing. So like, you have all types of different pop-ups that are happening in the city where like if you go on any of those like experience-driven websites that you can go find like a cocktail bar that's themed a certain way. Like that, all of that stuff plays into taking away from nightclub culture.
Yeah, I think that type of nightlife is what people are interested in. They're interested in those experiences. The dinner, like the sit-down dinner that turns into a party. Yeah. Those have been really successful from what I've seen lately.
Right.
The places where you go and there's like an entire like Cirque du Soleil performance happening and it's not just one person. It's like you're immersed into this experience type thing. I was just in Boston and there's a brand new club that opened up that's like Alice in Wonderland themed. And they went balls to the wall on making this Alice in Wonderland theme. Like I was so impressed. I'm blanking on the name. I was just up in Boston this past weekend, and RM kind of took me around and introduced me to some people.
We actually had we had a cocktail bar open up that's Alice in Wonderland themed down in Orlando, downtown Orlando too. So it is that experience driven, like really over the top decorated spots. And that's why these places that are like aging, that are a little more like, I don't want to say like hospital, but like a little more like clean and like white and gray,
or like black or whatever.
That stuff's just going away. We just started a new venue in downtown Jersey City that like is absolutely incredible. Like the bathroom area is like Instagrammable all day long.
Right.
The hallway that leads into it's gorgeous. It's lit perfectly. Like all of like, and then you walk into some other like nightlife spots that we haven't. It's like, well, this is very stark and very clean and like it's too much. Like I feel like stylistically things have changed in a major way. And if the venue's not ready to kind of update their look and update their experience, then you're going to be left behind, obviously.
Right. And we just talked about that last episode where it's like people are just kind of stuck in, hey, we're making money and we're open, and like there's no drive to make things better. And especially now in this day and age where everything is instant, right? Music, you can get at the snap of your fingers. With AI, you could have an email written for you in a second. Like a venue that doesn't change what they're doing, the look, the feel, the name, the DJ is like, it's not going to hang around. You can't continually do the same thing. You have to constantly be upgrading and reinventing yourself and creating a new experience. And I think that's why nightlife around us is slowly dying out, because venues aren't doing that.
Yeah.
They're just not.
it comes with a real double-edged sword here, because it's a really hard time, economic time, for businesses to invest in themselves. But at the same time, the people that are going to go out are going, if I'm going to go spend my money somewhere, it's going to be somewhere that is worth spending my money at. Like, it's not, we're not in like this some like boom where like people are just freely spending money at this point.
No, you're right on the you know, the inflation and what the cost of living right now is crazy. Like, I totally agree with that. I'm sure that plays a big role as well. But, you know, I think historically, people are still going to spend money. They want to get drunk, and they still want to have those vices of going out. You might be right. Now it's only one night a week instead of the people that were going out 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week even, where it's like, all right, we're going to go out Saturday, and that's kind of it. And I think we're totally seeing that, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, is nightlife dead? I don't know. I don't think it's dead, but I think that it's changing. And I think it's changing, you know, rapidly in ways that that people have just more options. And being that they have more options, you know, I feel like the venues really need to stay on top of their game.
I don't think nightlife is dead. I think it is slowly dying. And I think it is, especially in our market, in a place where changes need to be made very soon, or we're going to see more and more places disappear. And to be quite honest, it might be a good thing for us, because this particular market, you know, everyone who owns is older and really disconnected with what's happening. And I think in other markets we look at, Charleston, for example, all the owners there are in their 40s, you know, late 30s, early 40s. There's not a lot of old owners. They're on site. They're there making sure things are running well. They're involved. Most people who own venues here are not involved.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for it. Like, there's a lot of managing partners in a lot of those groups down there.
Well, everything's so expensive.
There's a lot of managing partners that there is, but like in the Hoboken market, some of those owners, like, they own, like, they straight out own. And that's why, like, there's no managing partner. There's none of that. Like, they're owners of their businesses, and usually owners of their buildings. And that's why they can kind of like run the course.
Right. But they just think that what they did 30 years ago, when they were actually a part of the business, are going to work in 2023.
What worked in 2020 is not working in 2023.
Right. So, things change really quickly now.
It's evolving in quite a rapid way. So, you know, hopefully we can see some things in our market. Listen, New York City's evolving. They're always evolving. They're turning bars over and clubs over, not major nightclubs, but like lounges and bars over pretty quickly, and they evolve nicely. But New Jersey, we get stuck a little bit. You know? Yeah. So
being in Boston with RM, it was like nice to see a pretty thriving nightlife scene up there. You know, there's a lot of venues there.
Yeah.
Like me, RM, and Castro kind of bounced around and checked the spot I was talking about with the Alice in Wonderland theme was Cavo. And Rick Wonder just played there. I think Beat Breaker just played there.
Nice.
Super dope. I just remembered it. But yeah, like we checked out Marielle Underground, and when I played Han, which is a newer spot, really dope. All these places are really, really dope and doing well. So it can be done.
For sure. So
where do you want to go here, Gar?
I don't know. I can talk music.
I don't know. I think we were kind of going back and forth on this last topic. I think we could touch on it like briefly, because it sort of does go back into what we started the podcast with, where I still, to this day, I'm, 13 years DJing in nightlife. I still have this outlook and this drive of if I'm not doing what I need to do to be successful on a day-to-day basis, someone else is and is going to take my job.
Right. And it's truer than ever. I think, being in the DJ game for so long, I think it becomes even more aggressive as you get older. It's like, well, there's going to be some young guy that's going to come and take my job soon. So like, how do I keep my edge?
I say to you all the time, like, I don't want to book the old guys. I want to book the hungry young guys. I want the guy who's working hard every day, putting out music, making like all their rundowns and their social media is on point, and they're like working as hard. They're busting their ass and they're not making their money yet.
Right.
Those are the people that I want to work with. Like, I don't want to book the 12-year veteran DJ that's just content, has built a name and is just going and collecting checks,
Yeah.
Am I that person? I hope I'm not that person. No, to be honest, like I'm still trying to put out as much content and music. I have an original track coming out soon. I just put out an edit pack with people that I really respect, younger people who I really respect and are working really hard and putting out great music. And like, I don't know, we're doing this podcast. Like
that is the way to stay relevant though, right? You didn't just mail it in. You haven't mailed it in. Like you're not just showing up to gigs. You're still playing. You're playing your best gigs you've ever played still in 2023. So it's not like you've peaked and now it's like, all right, you're waiting around for somebody to call you to go book DJs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're beyond a DJs at this point in a way. Like that you're not going to sit there and wait for them to call. Like
right.
you have other options and other things to do. I mean, big shout out to DJs. We love them, obviously. So I'm just using them as an example. But like, you do a good job at that. Like, I can name 10 DJs probably offhand that like were amazing and probably still are amazing DJs from our time that like haven't kind of stayed on top of their game as much as maybe they wanted to, or, you know, maybe they got married or they have a 9 to 5 or whatever it might be. But just within the DJ sphere, just like aren't as relevant, right? A question that we brought up, I'm gonna get a little controversial here. A question that we brought up last week was like, who are the DJs in our area, right? And a lot of older names were regurgitated. But then we posed the question, well, have they stayed relevant like as much as, have they done the things that you're doing to stay relevant? And a lot of times the answer is no.
Some of them are.
And some of the guys that are, like the Rick Wonders of the world, are really thriving.
I think Rick is another one that you could argue is he's at the top of his game, playing more, bigger, better shows than he ever has before. And Rick is, you know, late 30s.
Yeah, his schedule is impressive. I just saw it yesterday, 2 days ago. It's an impressive, well-rounded schedule.
But Rick has that like relentless, I have to keep putting out content. I have to keep creating. I have to keep making music. And he is not the norm for people that are in his stage of his career.
No, that's for sure. But also at the same time, like what younger guys do we have in the area that are just as hungry and doing those right things that they feel like somebody's going to take their job? I feel like sometimes the younger guys, like they'll get put onto bigger gigs and then, you know, they're trying to stay in that bigger gig and they kind of get a big head about it, right? And it's like, well, this is the only place. These are the only types of places I'm booking. But then, like some of their other stuff falls short because they think they deserve to always just get booked at the big places. It's like, well, where's your production and where are your TikToks and where are your reels and is your social media on point? And you know, are you constantly developing your DJ sound? Like, I just feel like sometimes the younger guys, that can get stagnant, right? Because it's easy to get complacent when you have early success,
right?
And that's the hard part. So if you're listening to this and you've had early success and you've tasted some of those big rooms as a young DJ, ask yourself, am I doing the right things in order to further my career 6 months, 8 months, a year from now? And if the answer is no, then sit down and make a plan to do that. Because there aren't many guys that I have in my mind that are like, wow, that's a must book young DJ. Like, I need that guy at like every one of my rooms right now, you know? None. I can't think of any. I mean, I'm sure there's like 3 or 4, but like must haves, like, I don't know. It's tough.
As a younger DJ, I think Gary brings up a great point, right? The way to kind of look at this is when you do start getting that taste of success, you do have to use that and leverage that to your advantage to maybe make some more money, help you get into some other bigger rooms. But don't think that you're above going and doing the regular gigs either. Maybe you don't make, you know, this crazy video or TikTok or promo for that particular gig. You just go and do it and you do the best job you can. But I think you still need to keep DJing, right? Like stay busy and keep getting better and fine-tuning who you are as a DJ and an artist. And those gigs that you might think now are below you, they might be, but I think they're still valuable, right? They're putting money in your pocket and they're keeping you busy. You're out there meeting more people, building more fans. And at a young stage of your career, that's really, really important. Right. So for the younger guys, I think there's a huge opportunity, especially in tri-state New York City, for the next wave of headliner DJs to step up and take the throne. It's never been more vulnerable, I feel like. It's never been more vulnerable than right now. If you're a younger DJ that's starting to see success, double down on whatever you're doing. Go all in on whatever you're doing, and you have an opportunity to be the next go-to headliner, top of the market person. And the older DJs, I think you need to look at yourselves and say, hey, do I still want to keep doing this? And if the answer is yes, then you need to do whatever it takes to keep your spot, because these young guys should be coming for you, biting at your heels type thing. And I think about this every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's, the music that I'm making, what I'm playing in my sets, am I staying relevant? Am I catering to the people that are actually out there? And if you're not doing that as an older DJ, later, like the days of you playing the best sets and the travel sets are going to be gone. And for me, I think in my head, I can't go back to being the local DJ. I can't go back to being the $350 or whatever bar DJ, because that doesn't interest me anymore.
Right.
I don't get that same excitement. I don't get the butterflies that I do when I go play a big show with 2,000 people. I need that. It's a drug to me. I need that energy. I need that excitement from fans, from customers during my sets. I can't go back to not having that.
And that's a huge step backward, especially at where you're at in your career.
That's what drives me.
Does it make sense?
Honestly, I work somewhat, it's not just fear that drives me, but fear is a part of it, right? Fear of losing what I've created for myself and my brand. And that's part of it. But obviously the love for what I do and making music and creating these cool packs and things that like bring DJs and artists together. I love it. Love it. That's what drives me.
Yeah. You do it all well. So it's, there is no reason to step backward.
We're in a really cool situation too, where it's like, we can help shape who the next big artists are. And we could help guide some of these guys and girls who are trying to step up.
I think it's part of why I wanted to have this conversation on here and just say, like, say to young DJs out there that it's wide open out there. Like, we'd love to see who the next person's going to be and create that 1-year plan and run with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have people on our team that can be the next wave, and we're starting to see it. Like, I got to shout like GaryW out. He's really stepped his game up and playing bigger shows. And, I've seen him perform,
Yeah.
I mean, UFOso's another one. The guy can play any room and perform in any room, and he's a great DJ. And there's more. I mean, I don't want to just start naming everybody off, but
there's a bunch. It's kind of funny because I think that like we have grown a lot of really good young talent. So I'm thinking outside of Get Down, obviously, because I'd like to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what we've doing is trying to scout out who those people are and help bringing them onto the team also.
Right.
We've brought some talent on that I think Gary and I think can be really, really, really big talent in the area and beyond. So
for sure.
I think that's also exciting for us right now, is being able to help guide those people and also help choose who those people are, because we do have so much booking power, which is a little scary, but
yeah. I'm thinking my next question for you right now, actually.
Okay.
To kind of switch topics, because you posed the question last night to me in the car. What would you do if Get Down stops tomorrow? I gave you the night to sleep on it. I mean, I can go into kind of like some stuff, but like, because I know what I do. I have a pretty clear-cut path back to, would I rush back to teaching? I don't know. Maybe not initially, because going back to a Monday through Friday would be a little tedious and crazy. And I enjoy like my golf job. I enjoy working outside. Maybe it would be in some teaching capacity in Florida where I would have my gym classes outside. Like that would be fine to me. Maybe go back into coaching. I would love to do that. Something that's driven toward kids and bringing kids up and shaping young, kind of like what we do at Get Down, but like, just
just another platform.
Level. Yeah. So I think that's what I would do.
When we talked about this in the car, I was like, maybe I would just go back to sales. But I don't know if that's the answer, to be quite honest, because the last 4 years or 3.5 years of like really like putting our all and hours and days and all this time and energy into building something, which is Get Down. I don't know if I could go back to just like working for someone and having, a boss, so to speak.
Would you try to rebuild something else? Like, would you try to create another company? This company obviously wasn't built on purpose.
Right.
So would you, put your all into some other passion that maybe grows into a business?
What I've learned is that once you find something that you're really passionate about and you go all in on it, I quit my job and I said, I'm going to be a DJ full time and see where it takes me. Once you do that and you see success and you see that if you really believe in something and you're really passionate about something and you put the effort into it, that you could reach your goals, it's really hard for me to go back to something that is not that exciting to me.
Right.
So I don't necessarily know what the next venture would be, but I have this entrepreneurial, I'm going to outwork people. I'm going to find the right people to work with us to create this really cool thing. I think I would have to do that again.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, but I love music. I love coaching. I love sports. And it would be something in that realm. Coach Cream, get the whistle out again. I would love to have the time to be able to go coach baseball or basketball again. I just love it. And I think I haven't been able to do that in a long time. So yeah. I think that would be part of it. And I don't know. I think finding something that pays me enough money that isn't fully my life is also really interesting because I don't really have any hobbies. I don't have time to go do too much because everything is so invested in DJ Cream and Get Down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a tougher question for you because I think you do have a bigger aspirations as an artist, right? So you have a lot of time that's consumed in DJ Cream itself, the artist. So that time for hobbies is really not on the table.
Yeah.
Like I have no aspirations to never have to be an artist. So it's like I have time to like go play around the golf and stuff like that. So yeah. So I felt like it was an interesting question to pose for this podcast.
If I wasn't going to be an entrepreneur and start my own thing, my first place to go would be like the SoundClouds and the Spotifys, or it would be definitely something within music where I could have an impact on the next wave of artists or the next wave of music that's coming out, or help grow an artist and teach them how to be an artist. Like it would be something in that world because I really, really love that part of what we do.
For sure.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Couple things here before we wrap up. I mentioned the Cream and Friends Volume 1 edit pack. It's myself, Gin and Sonic, Revis, Angelo. It's 12 edits, three from each of us. It's honestly really dope. And not just because it's mine, but I was actually organizing the music and going through it. And like all those songs, most of them on the pack went into folders where they're going to get played. And that doesn't always happen on edit packs and stuff.
Okay.
So if you want to download that, it's free. You can go to the show notes or, go to my profile on IG and it'll be there. And then anything else?
No, just looking forward to the meetup.
Yeah, we'll see you guys that are coming to the Get Down meetup tonight. Listen, if I don't remember who you are or don't know your name, sorry ahead of time.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. So apologies ahead of time.
Yeah. Have IGs and business cards. And, if you have those dot cards like Jules was telling us about, have all that stuff ready to kind of pass out to everybody that you're going to meet tomorrow, because it's going to be, or tonight, I should say, because it's going to be a lot.
My advice to anyone coming is use this time to introduce yourself to as many people as possible. Shake hands, kiss babies, and spread yourself around the room. I think that's the best way to utilize the time of being here. Don't hang out with the people that you know. Hang out with the people that you don't know.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of The Get Down. We will talk to you guys next week.
Peace, guys.
Peace. Thanks for listening to the Get Down podcast. If you enjoy our show and find the topics entertaining or helpful in any way, we would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you listen to it. We want to help more DJs, and subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show is the best way for us to do that. We appreciate all the love so far. Thanks for listening, guys.